Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I really hope you're all doing okay and having a great day and an amazing week. My name is Effy and today we're doing a palette play video. If you've never seen my palette play videos before, it's where I pick a palette at random from my collection and create 3 looks using it. One on this side, one on this side, take them both off and do a third look. This is my third look. What do you think of it? And the palette we are playing with today is the BH Cosmetics Summer in St Tropez palette. It looks like this. I already have 2 pans in this palette. I hit them prior to today. They've been there for a while. And this palette is actually in my project pan for the entire year. If you're interested in project panning, I will put them in the clickable I button, wherever it is, and you can check those out. I'll be completely honest with you, I've already filmed this video once and half of the footage just disappeared. Couldn't find it anywhere, so I'm refilming it. Thankfully it's not of first impressions or anything like that, but as always I will be giving you my thoughts on the palette at the start of the video and at the end after I create 3 looks using it, and at the end of the video I will be picking a new palette to play with in my next video. I'll quickly insert the footage of me picking this palette to play with from my last palette play video. Let's go for this one. There we go. Yeah, I think you can see that. It is the BH Cosmetics Summer in St Tropez palette. And like I said, at the end we'll be picking a new palette. But if that sounds interesting to you, then please do just keep on watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. I put up 2 videos a week and it's all makeup content, so if that sounds like your type of thing, then this is the place for you. But other than that, enjoy the video. Okay, so the Summer in St Tropez palette. I've had this palette for quite a long time at this point. I think I've had it roughly 5 years. This is what it looks like. You would have seen it in the intro. The shimmers are some of the best formulas I have in my collection at the moment. They're just so glittery and special, and these 2 actually have like shifts to them, which is really nice. The mattes are a little bit hit or miss. There are a few that are a bit more chalky. For example, this one's a bit more chalky, this one's a bit more chalky. I think the red is as well. But the rest are actually really quite buttery, and as you can see I've already got 2 pans in this palette. I might hit another one today, maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed. But I have loved this palette for a very long time, and it was a gift from a friend, so I love it because of that as well. But let's get into the video. We're going to do 3 looks. As I said in the intro, I've already filmed this video before, so I should be pretty quick because I already know what I'm doing, which is good because my battery is already flashing at me because I did not charge it overnight. But let's make a start. Let's zoom you in. We'll do a sort of sunset-y look first. Okay, so I've primed my eyes and we're going to start with the shade Jet Set. That is such a vibrant, pigmented red. It is a true red. It's sort of the primary sort of red shade that you would expect. It's gone on beautifully. This is one of those shades that is a bit more chalky to touch, but I still think they perform really well. They go on the lid really well, which is quite nice. As you can see, the pigment's built up really easily. I'm just patting it on in the shape that I want it, and it's going on absolutely amazingly. When you consider that this palette is like 5 years old at least, it's performing pretty well. Now we're going to go in with the shade Crepe. Another absolutely beautiful shade that has gone on so nicely. It will need blending with that red shade a little bit more, but I can do that when I go back through my blending. That's absolutely fine. I love this shade. It's a bit of a like orangey yellow. I think it works really nicely with the red. It is such a nice tone, and this is one of those more buttery shades, so I think it just works really nicely, just like the red works nicely. They just have different textures. And now I'm going in with this shade down here called Intoxicating. This is a very pastel-y yellow, so it's going to take over a little bit, but it'll be fine when we go back through and blend them. Like I said, that's a super light pastel shade, and pastel shades tend to take over an eye look a little bit, which is kind of what it's done here, which is absolutely fine. But I do think it blends with that crepe shade really, really nicely. It's nice to have a really good blending out shade that matches the colour scheme of the palette, and I think this one definitely does that. What I'm going to do now is quickly go back through those 3 shades and blend them out a bit more. There we go, they're blending together. They did need a little bit of re-intensifying after layering them up, but I think they look great now. They're going over one another really nicely. They're blending together really nicely. It's just a great palette. I think this is a really, really good formula, and this palette has made me want to get more of their like 16 pan palettes, which is always a really good sign. What I want to do now is just deepen it up using one of the purples. They look very similar on camera, but they are slightly different. I think this one's a bit more cool tone. So I'm actually going to go in with a little bit of Nightlife just to deepen the inner and outer corners. I just think that gives the right amount of depth. Normally I would complain that a palette doesn't have a black in it, but I don't think this palette needs a black. And I think if it did have a black, it would look out of place with the colour scheme. This palette does have a dark blue and it does have two darker purples, and I think that's really all it needs. But what I'm going to do now is put on some shimmers, and then I'm going to go off camera and charge my battery a little bit because it's stressing me out. So let's pick some shimmers. I think I'm going to make this really simple and go in with Paradise sort of all over, and then a little bit of Exotic just through the centre. You can see just how opaque these shades go on. They don't need a base underneath them. They stick really nicely even on top of shadows. I think these are such gorgeous, gorgeous shimmer shades. But now, because my flashing battery symbol is stressing me out so much, I'm gonna go off camera, do my lower lash line, put on some mascara, a lash, a brow, finish this look up, and then we'll come back, talk about it, and do the other look, and I'll charge my battery while I'm gone. See you in a moment. So there we go, this is eye look number 1. I have put on some mascara, which is the KVD Go Big or Go Home mascara. I've put on some lashes, which are the Artitude Cosmetic lashes in the style Poison. I've used my Benefit Brow in shade 3 for my brows. I even put a coloured liner in my waterline. This is the NYX Epic Wear Liner Stick in the shade Orange Zest. I just thought that would work really nicely. And also, I'm going to be doing a pink and a blue look. And I have pink and blue ones, so I might as well just use all 3 of them today, why not? But yeah, this is look number 1. Let me know what you think of it down in the comment section below. As always, let me know your favourite of the 3 looks. So this is look number 1, I'm about to do look number 2, and then we'll do look number 3. That's how it generally tends to work, but yeah, I quite like this. It looks very summery, sunset sort of eye. Very basic, but in terms of a colour scheme, but I do love sunset eyes. I have already primed this eye, but it is already creasing. So let's make a start on look number 2. Okay, so I've just blended out my creases, which is great. And we're going to do a blue look, and we're going to start with the shade Bay. As you can see, already has a pan in it, which is great. So let's just expand that pan a little bit. Again, going on absolutely beautifully. I have got a little bit of fallout from it, but that's fine. I wouldn't say this is one of the more powdery shades. I would say this is kind of in the middle, but it has fallen out, but that's fine. I can clean that up. It's so pigmented. It's such a deep blue, and this is the reason why I don't think the palette really needs a black, because I think this blue is dark enough and would deepen up most looks you want to do anyway. So now I'm going to go in with a light blue called Pampelone, I don't know, but we're going in with it. This might genuinely be one of my favourite shades in the palette, which is a bit weird because I haven't hit pan on it yet, but I've hit pan on 2 other shades. But it's just so pigmented and blendable. It's one of the more buttery shades. I just think it works absolutely beautifully. And I'm a sucker for blue eyeshadow, so of course I'm going to absolutely love it. And now to blend that out, I'm going to go in with the shade Sand. Normally, I would say that a shade like this, that's similar to my skin tone, is great in a palette. But for me, I just think this shade is a bit out of place in here. It just doesn't really fit. But it does help to blend out the blue, so let's do that. There we go, it did exactly what I wanted it to. It just blends out that blue shade and makes it a little bit more manageable. Once again, I'm just going to go back through those shades and blend them a little bit more and intensify them. That's looking a lot better now. I did go in with a fluffier brush for the shade Pampelone just to help blend it and soften it a little bit. but I think this looks so nice. Like I said, I'm kind of a sucker for blue eyeshadow. I just absolutely love it. And these are really, really good blue eyeshadows. I think they look really nice. They blend amazingly. They can be like softened a bit, which is quite nice. So once again, we're going to use some shimmers, and I think I'm going to go in with the pink shimmers, which I know sounds a bit odd, but I love doing these pink shimmers with blue eyeshadow. So what I'm going to do is go in with a little bit of Marina and a little bit of Beach Club, and then I'm going to go in with Coastline just on the inner corner, and then when I do my lower lash line, I'm also going to bring it along my lower lash line. I'm also going to clear up that fallout because that will probably be helpful. Let's do that. There are the shimmers on, looking absolutely beautiful. I will say I do wish this palette had a blue shimmer in it. As much as that Marina shade has like a bluey green shift, I wish there was sort of a straight up blue shimmer. I think that would fit really nicely. What I will say though is having these pinks next to the blues, because that first shade is so icy, it almost just looks silver against the blues, and that works really nicely. And then the second shade, Beach Club, is kind of a peachy pink, and for that reason I think it looks really nice against the blue as well. I really like these shades together. I often do this sort of look. In fact, the 3 looks I'm doing today tend to be my go-to looks for this palette. So having the blue shadows with the pink shimmers is a go-to look for me, and I really like it from this palette. But weirdly, I wouldn't do it from any other palette when I think about it, but I will do it with this palette. But there we go. Once again, I'm going to go off camera, do my lower lash line, do my mascara, lashes and brows. For my lower lash line, I'm just going to pull the blue matte shades underneath and then take the Marina shade just like across my lower lash line. And again, I'll use a blue pencil in my waterline. So I'll see you in a moment. There we go. That is look number 2. I have realised that both of my lashes are stuck on terribly, but that's fine. Let me know what you think of the look down below in the comment section. I quite like it. Like I said, this is one of the looks that I generally tend to do with this palette fairly often, and I do quite like it. On that note, actually, I haven't said this yet, but I actually think this palette is relatively limited in terms of what you can do with it, but I am saying that after having it for however many years, and therefore I've probably done every look that I could think of using it. But that doesn't mean it's a bad palette. I know that I have some standard go-to looks that I can get from it, and that's absolutely fine with me. But yeah, let me know what you think down below. Look number 1, look number 2. Let's take them both off and do a third look, and this is going to be my pink look. I'm very excited for it. Let's make a start. Back, my eye is primed, and we're going to start with the shade Nightlife. Absolutely stunning purpley pink shade. You can really see it now, whereas in the other look I used it and you couldn't really see it by itself, and it is just so pigmented. It's a gorgeous shade as well. It is definitely walking the line between pink and purple, which I really like. Now I'm going to go in with the shade Sizzle. Now this is actually a sequin shade, so it has tiny bits of glitter running through it, but when you put it on your eye and buff it in, the glitters kind of disappear. I've never used it as like an actual sequin shade, but I'm not going to for this look either, so we'll put this on now. Hopefully you can see what I mean about how you can't tell that it has glitter in there at all. I think it is almost completely matte on my eye, which is good because that's what I want it for. And it's blending perfectly with that first shade we put down. Obviously just getting the shape and the colours on right now, not really bothering too much about blending, but they do blend seamlessly together. And now I'm going in with the shade Villa to blend that out. As you can see, it's a shade I use a lot. I do a lot of pink looks in this palette. This is always my blending out shade for them. Another absolutely beautiful shade. It does take over a little bit, a bit like that yellow we used in the first look, but I think this one isn't as bad. It doesn't take over as much, and it just helps to blend out so nicely. It's not quite my skin colour, but it's close enough to blend in nicely, and I will go in with a fluffy brush to blend that out and blow it out a little bit more in a moment. In fact, that's exactly what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go back through these 3 shades, re-intensify them, blend them a little bit better, smoke them out a bit more, all those good things. I'm actually in love with how well these colours are blending together. They are blending absolutely seamlessly and I'm really happy with them. But now I want to deepen it up a tiny bit more, just to add a bit more depth to that inner and outer corner. And I'm going to go in with the shade Cabana, which I think is now the only matte shade we've not used today. Pretty good going. Hopefully you can see that that shade isn't too different from that Nightlife shade that we used first, but it just deepens it ever so slightly and also makes it a touch cooler toned, which I think makes a lot of difference to the eye look. And my battery is flashing at me once again. So we're going to do shimmers and then I'll go off camera and do the rest of my face. Now for this look, I am just going to stick to the pink shimmers along the middle row. So that is Super Yacht, Beach Club and Marina. I'm thinking I'm going to do like a spotlight eye, a bit like I did with the first look. So we'll go Super Yacht all over, Beach Club through the middle and then Marina straight through the middle of that. And we'll put a bit of Marina on the inner corner as well. There we go, once again the shimmers have not disappointed. I mean, it's a little bit messy and I will clean that up a bit by blending the mattes a bit more when I go off camera, but absolutely stunning shimmers. What I'm going to do now is go off camera, catch up the other eye, do my base, completely do a full face, and then I will come back at the end and we'll discuss my thoughts on the palette now that I've used it another 3 times. I'll see you in a moment. And I'm back, and this is look number 3, fully complete. Lashes are not my friend today at all, but that's absolutely fine. Everything on my face will be linked down in the description box below in case you are interested in seeing what I've used. But let's chat about the palette. Unfortunately, I did not hit any pan on any new shades, but I think that one's definitely got a lot bigger, don't you? This one is so close to hitting pan. I adore this palette. I said that at the beginning. I have used it a lot over the years that I've had it. I've had it for a number of years. It's still performing amazingly well. It's still blending nicely. It's still got very intense pigment and I really like that, and the shimmers just have my heart completely. They are some of my favourite shimmers in my entire collection. One thing I will say, which I didn't mention at the start, is that BH Cosmetics has now been bought out by Revolution, which I think is an interesting move. And I will be very interested to see the direction that the brand takes going forward, because it's still a bit too early to tell. But yeah, I absolutely love this palette, and like I did say at the beginning, the love I have for this palette has made me want to buy more of these sort of like 16 pan palettes. The 3 that I'm looking at mainly is Avocado Toast, is it Peach Bellini or something like that? Or Mimosa? The thing might be Mimosa. And then the trendy in Tokyo, the rainbow one. You can tell I pay a lot of attention, but I really want to pick up more of these palettes. I think they all look amazing. I also like the blueberry muffin one, and there's a few more that I have my eye on. So if you have any of these palettes, this is the old packaging, by the way, I should have said that. This isn't their new packaging, it has been updated. If you have any of these 16 pan palettes, please drop me a comment down below. Let me know which ones you have. Let me know whether you think I should buy them, because I really do love this. Is one of my favourite palettes. It's in my project pan all year for a reason, because I love it and I want to get more use out of it. But there we go. As always, let me know down in the comment section which of my 3 looks are your favourite. Let me know if you have this palette and what you think of it. All those good things. Let me know how your day's going if you want. But other than that, I'll let you go. I hope you have a great day and an amazing week, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh shit. I forgot to pick a new palette again. We have the tin. The tin has been updated. I know I said for ages that I was going to update it. I have actually updated it now. So let's pick a new palette. Let's go for this one. So the palette we have is the Beauty Babe Pastels. Can you see that? I think you can. We have the Beauty Babe Pastels. That'll be an interesting one, to say the least. But I think what I'm going to do with that palette is allow myself to use shades from other palettes, liquid glitters, liquid liners, things like that to spice up the looks a little bit. But that'll be an interesting one. But there we go. Now that I've picked my palette, I will actually let you go. Have a great day, an amazing week, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.